Probably the best guy that ever played safety in this league.
He told the doctors to cut off his finger so he could play even sooner. They thought he was joking. He wasn't. Receivers would literally run out of bounds to avoid him. Quarterbacks changed their entire offense just because of where he stood. And for 14 years, Ronnie Lott turned the NFL into his personal hunting ground. Meet the most intimidating safety of all time. Chapter 1. The Rise. Ronnie wasn't born violent. As a kid in Albuquerque, New Mexico, he was actually pretty quiet, the kind of kid who kept to himself. His parents were strict, taught him discipline, respect, and the value of hard work. But there was always something burning inside him, something that football brought out. By the time he got to Eisenhower High School, that fire turned into an inferno on the field. He played both ways, offense and defense, and he was absolutely relentless. Coaches started noticing that Ronnie had this sixth sense for the ball, this ability to read plays before they developed. But what really stood out was the way he hit. Clean, devastating, and always with purpose. He wasn't trying to hurt people. He was trying to make them quit. The scholarship offers started rolling in, but Ronnie stayed patient. He wanted to play for the best, and that meant the University of Southern California, the Trojans, the program that churned out NFL legends like it was a factory. In 1977, Ronnie Lott arrived at USC, and college football would never be the same. A four-year letterman, 1977 to 1980. He started at cornerback, and immediately, opposing offenses had a problem. You couldn't throw his way. If you did, he'd either pick it off or separate your receiver from his soul. By his senior year in 1980, USC was rolling. Ronnie was everywhere. 8 interceptions, bone-crushing tackles, and a presence that made the entire defense play harder. The Trojans finished the season with an 8-2-1 record, and Ronnie showed the world what he really was.
He was not a good loser. He wanted to win on every single play.
Ronnie was at the center of everything. He didn't just win his matchups, he humiliated opponents. Receivers stopped looking for the ball when he was in coverage. They were too busy bracing for impact. By the end of the year, Ronnie Lott led the nation in interceptions, was a consensus All-American, and one of the most feared players in college football. But the NFL scouts had concerns. Same story, different era. Too small, they said. Safeties that size don't last in the pros. He's aggressive, but can he hold up? And then came the 1981 NFL Draft. The San Francisco 49ers were picking 8th overall, and they had a young head coach named Bill Walsh, who saw something different in Ronnie Lott. Walsh didn't care about size. He cared about instinct, intelligence, and violence. So with the 8th pick, the 49ers took Ronnie Lott, and the league had no idea what was coming. Chapter 2. The Dominance. Ronnie's rookie season in 1981 started like a hurricane. The 49ers moved him to cornerback, and he didn't just play, he dominated. 7 interceptions, 3 returned for touchdowns. He was shutting down the league's best receivers and making quarterbacks second-guess every throw. But here's the thing about Ronnie Lott. The interceptions were never the scariest part. It was the hits. Receivers started going down. Hard, clean hits, legal hits, but the kind that made you reconsider your career choices. Ronnie would time it perfectly. Wait until the receiver's hands touched the ball, and then arrive like a freight train with no brakes. Helmets popped off, bodies went airborne. And the message was clear. If you come over the middle, you're going to pay a price. The 49ers went 13-3 that season and stormed into the playoffs. In Super Bowl 16, they faced the Cincinnati Bengals, and Ronnie Lott showed up on the biggest stage. He was everywhere, breaking up passes, crushing runs, forcing the Bengals' offense into constant mistakes. The 49ers won 26-21, and Ronnie Lott had his first ring as a rookie. Most players never get one. Ronnie got his before his second season even started. But he wasn't satisfied. That's what separated him from everyone else. He didn't play for stats or accolades. He played to impose his will, to make offenses fear him. And in 1985, Bill Walsh made a decision that would change the game forever. He moved Ronnie Lott from cornerback to free safety. At first, people questioned it. Why move your best corner? But Walsh saw something bigger.
Are you happy at safety?
At free safety, Ronnie could patrol the entire field. He could see everything. He could diagnose plays before they developed, and then arrive at the point of attack like a missile. And that's exactly what happened. From the free safety position, Ronnie became unstoppable. 6 interceptions in 1985. He was reading quarterbacks like a book, jumping routes, and punishing anyone who dared test him. But the hits became legendary. There's a reason they called him Mad Dog. Every week there was a new highlight of some poor receiver getting ferociously destroyed. In 1985, the 49ers were back in the Super Bowl, this time against the Miami Dolphins in Super Bowl 19. The Dolphins had Dan Marino, the most electrifying quarterback in football, and an offense that was putting up video game numbers. But Ronnie Lott had other plans. He had 1 tackle and 1 pass defense. He hit receivers so hard they stopped coming across the middle. The 49ers dominated, 38-16, and Ronnie had his second ring. But then came the moment that defined his entire career. The moment that showed everyone what Ronnie Lott really was. It was in 1985, the season finale against the Cowboys. Ronnie crushed his left pinky finger during a collision with Timmy Newsome.
Yeah, he went over to the sideline and, the pinky was literally broken in half, and they're going to take him into the locker room, take him out of the game. He said, "The hell with that. Just snip it off. I'm finishing this game."
The doctors examined it and gave him 2 options: have surgery, which would sideline him for months, or amputate the tip of the finger and be ready to play immediately the next season. Most players would take the surgery. Most players would protect their bodies. But Ronnie Lott wasn't most players. He told the doctors to cut it off. They thought he was joking. He wasn't.
I had to go see the doctor so he could repair it. He says, "Well, look, one of your bones is missing in the finger." I chose to get the finger amputated so I could play.
So they amputated the tip of his pinky finger. And the following season, Ronnie Lott was back on the field, delivering hits like nothing ever happened.
He just can't play out there one-handed, and he's out there trying to make those plays, and he can't.
That story spread through the league like wildfire. Coaches told it to motivate their teams. Players whispered about it in locker rooms. And suddenly, Ronnie Lott wasn't just a great safety. He was a myth, a ghost story offensive coordinators used to scare their receivers straight. In 1986, Ronnie had 10 interceptions, more than some entire defenses. He was named first-team All-Pro, and the 49ers kept winning. But it was 1988 and 1989 that cemented Ronnie's legacy forever. The 49ers were building a dynasty. Joe Montana at quarterback, Jerry Rice at receiver, and Ronnie Lott leading the most feared defense in football. In Super Bowl 23, they faced the Bengals again, and Ronnie was all over the field. 5 tackles, constant pressure, pure dominance. But it was one hit that changed everything. Early in the game, Bengals rookie sensation Ickey Woods was running for big gains. The kid had 1,066 yards in the regular season, 15 touchdowns, and he was doing his famous Ickey shuffle in the end zone every week. He was rolling, and the Bengals had momentum. After the Bengals' first series, Ronnie came off the field and told his teammates, "Don't worry about Ickey. I'm going to put his fire out." The next time Woods got the ball, Ronnie came flying in from his safety position. The collision was devastating, and just like that, everything changed. After that hit, Woods ran differently, tentatively. The swagger was gone. The Ickey shuffle disappeared. 49ers defensive coordinator Ray Rhodes said it perfectly. It just knocked the spark out of him. The game turned right there. Ickey just didn't run with the same authority after that. Even Bengals quarterback Boomer Esiason admitted to Esquire years later that hit set the tone. The 49ers won in dramatic fashion on a last-minute Joe Montana drive, and Ronnie had his 3rd ring. But he wasn't done. The next year, 1989, the 49ers went 14-2 and destroyed everyone in their path. In Super Bowl 24 against the Denver Broncos, Ronnie Lott put on a clinic. The 49ers won 55-10, the most lopsided Super Bowl in history at that time, and Ronnie had his 4th championship ring, 4 Super Bowl rings, 10 Pro Bowls, 8 first-team All-Pro selections, 63 career interceptions. But those stats don't capture what Ronnie Lott really did. He changed how the game was played. Receivers started running different routes to avoid him. Quarterbacks checked his position before every snap. Offensive coordinators built entire game plans around not throwing anywhere near him. Meet the most intimidating safety of all time. A player who could cover like a cornerback, hit like a linebacker, and read the game like a coach. And he did it all with 9.5 fingers. Chapter 3. The Legacy. After the 1990 season, the 49ers made the painful decision to not protect Ronnie in free agency and let him walk. The team was aging, and they needed to rebuild. So Ronnie signed with the Los Angeles Raiders, and even though his best years were behind him, he still played with that same violent intensity. 2 more Pro Bowls with the Raiders, still making plays, still delivering hits that made SportsCenter highlights. In 1993, he signed a 2-year contract with the New York Jets for what would be his final seasons. By then, his body was breaking down. The years of punishment, the surgeries, the hits, it was all catching up. But Ronnie Lott played every game like it was his last because, in his mind, it always was. When he retired after the 1994 season, he left the game the same way he entered it, on his own terms, with no regrets, and with a reputation that would outlive him. What made him different wasn't just his ability, it was his mentality. He played the game with a level of intensity and ferocity that terrified opponents. He didn't just want to beat you, he wanted to make you quit. He wanted you to remember his hits for the rest of your life, and they did. Ask any receiver who played in the 1980s who the scariest player in the NFL was, and they'll all say the same name, Ronnie Lott. Ask any quarterback who they tried to avoid, and it's Ronnie Lott. Ask any coach who changed how they called plays because of one player, and it's always Ronnie Lott. In 2000, Ronnie Lott was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame on the first ballot. Of course he was. There was never any doubt. During his speech, he talked about the sacrifices, the pain, the relentless pursuit of greatness. But he also talked about something deeper, the idea that football isn't just a game. It's a test of your will, your courage, and your commitment. And Ronnie Lott passed that test every single Sunday for 14 years. Today, when analysts talk about the greatest safeties of all time, the conversation always starts and ends with Ronnie Lott. Ed Reed had the ball skills. Troy Polamalu had the instincts. Brian Dawkins had the leadership. But none of them had the complete package like Ronnie. None of them changed the game the way he did. He redefined what it meant to play safety. Before Ronnie, safeties were the last line of defense, the guys who cleaned up mistakes. After Ronnie, safeties became enforcers, game changers, the players who dictated how offenses operated. He turned the position into a weapon. And that finger, the one he cut off to keep playing, it became a symbol, not of toughness, though it was that, but of commitment, of what it means to truly love the game, of what separates legends from everyone else. Ronnie Lott didn't just play hurt. He permanently altered his body because missing games wasn't an option in his mind. He didn't just play the game. He weaponized himself. And when it was all said and done, Ronnie Lott walked away from football the same way he played it, with no regrets, no apologies, and nothing left to prove. You can build his statue right now. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into one of the most intimidating safeties the NFL has ever seen, stick with End Zone Exposed. Subscribe, like, and check out some of our other legendary football stories. End Zone Exposed is where the truth always scores.